How do people decide what to believe? I think this is an interesting question because, from my experience, hitting somebody with the facts will not change their opinion or change their minds on something. No matter how thorough you are in your explanation to them, and no matter what you say and how many facts you present to them, like most people don't end up changing their minds about what they believe to be true. And so I wonder why that is, and also I wonder what makes us decide what to believe. Like, what are our beliefs based on? And I think that our beliefs are mostly based on our identities and our predominant way of seeing the world, like how we see ourselves and how we see the world. And identities also contain labels, right? Like our identities are made of all of these labels that we have placed on ourselves and placed on the world around us. And so, like, for example, like an example of a label is like let's say a political label, right? Like you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. And if you identify as one or the other, then you are more likely to believe certain things and be against other things. And then from that perspective, you can see that, like, even if I came to you with facts that the opposing camp is right on a certain topic, it probably wouldn't matter. You probably wouldn't change your mind, and you would stick to your original beliefs no matter how many facts life gives you. And this is not true just with politics, obviously. This is true with like any label that we place on ourselves. Like, if I see myself as a mom or as like a happily married woman, I'm more likely to believe certain things. If my identity is as a stay-at-home mom, I'm going to believe some things about the world. And if my identity is as a working woman, then I'm going to have different beliefs about the world, and so on and so forth. And so I think that our identities and our labels are a big part of why it's so hard to change somebody's mind about anything. And to a certain point, I think this is a good thing, that we don't go around changing our minds every 5 seconds, because then, like, our entire worldview would be completely shattered and rebuilt every 3 days, right? Like, takes a lot of energy. That's very exhausting to constantly break down and rebuild your identity every day. And so if you just stick to the same identity for a period of 60 years, then you only have to set up that identity once and set up your labels and your beliefs one time, and then you just keep on believing and thinking in the same way for the rest of your life, and you're set. On the other hand, some of these labels and some of these beliefs that we have don't necessarily help us become the people that we see ourselves as, or the people that we would like to be one day. And so I think that's why I think that choosing the right goals for yourself is half of the battle, because a good goal will take you on a journey. And in order to get your goal, or in order to have your desire, you're going to have to go on this wild roller coaster ride that, like, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen on that roller coaster ride, but that's essentially the only way to get your goal or to get your desire, is to become a brand new person and completely changing the identity that you have now and some of the labels that you have now. And Joe Dispenza talks about this in his work extensively, and he has a lot of meditations that can help you with this. I'm a big fan of his. I keep bringing him up in my videos because I really believe in his work. And so when we go on these, when we set these audacious goals and when we go on these journeys, we end up becoming someone new along the way. I mean, you have to become someone new in order to get what you want, because you cannot have it as you currently are right now. Your personality has to change, your identity has to change, your beliefs have to change, your way of thinking has to change. And so that process, although it's painful and uncomfortable, is like the best way that I've ever experienced to change what you believe and to change how you see the world. And so I think that sometimes the unintended consequence of choosing a really good goal for yourself is that you end up completely changing your life in the best way possible. And so I think that that's a really interesting way of looking at manifestation and at looking at reality creation. And that's what I'm going through right now. I've done this before with previous goals, but it makes me think that every time I'm on this journey and every time I pick a goal or something that I want and I stick to it, I often always have a period where I feel like my beliefs are being challenged and the way that I think is changing. And sometimes it's day by day. Sometimes I notice like the way that I talk to myself is changing from one day to the next, or like a new belief would pop into my head, or a new thought that I've never had before would pop into my head in the middle of this like intense transformational process. And it always takes me by surprise that I can do that I can still change my mind about things, that I can still think new ways about and see the world in new ways and have new beliefs that all started because I decided to pursue a certain desire or a certain goal. And so oftentimes you know what your end desire is, but you really don't know where this crazy roller coaster ride is going to take you. And you often don't really know the kind of person that you have to become to have your desire. I mean, maybe you know parts of it, but you certainly don't know the whole picture. And so this journey of creating life and pursuing goals by working in the unseen is definitely a wild roller coaster ride, and not for the faint of heart, because you do know where you're going to end up, but you don't know the person that you don't fully know, let's say, the person that you need to become in order to have that thing, and the new thoughts that are going to pop into your head, and the new beliefs that you're going to have, and because of this goal that you are pursuing. And so, yes, I agree with this initial statement that I made, that facts alone rarely change minds, but choosing a goal and then like using all of your senses to feel and see your goal as done in meditations and in visualizations will definitely eventually lead to a new personality and new beliefs. And so we oftentimes don't get to decide what we want to believe, but we do get to decide what our goals are, and then our goals like kind of dictate of like then our goals dictate what our beliefs need to be in order to have those goals, and in order to become the person that can hold those goals. I hope I'm describing my thoughts accurately, but this is something that's been on my mind and something that I'm like actually going through right now. And I do like sharing things that I'm noticing. Sorry. I do like sharing things that I'm noticing in real time and talking it through and just sharing my experience, because a lot of people see reality creation and goal manifestation as like this easy peasy, like no big deal, thing, or like this super logical thing, but like to me it's neither of the above. And that's also been a fascinating discovery, because like to me, I think that life keeps showing me that that your imagination can take you 99% of the way there, and feeling those feelings of the wish fulfilled, as like Neville would say, during visualizations and during your meditations, and then like trying to maintain that state throughout your day is really like 99% of the work. And then sometimes you're gonna have to take some action, but that state that you are embodying throughout the day will lead to new beliefs and a completely new personality. And you sometimes don't know from the get-go what that's going to look like exactly, and you get all of these like brand new thoughts popping up in your head that are like surprising you. And so I thought that was like super interesting. Anyway, if this kind of video sounds interesting to you, I wanted to tell you that I've recently published a book that is called Mastering the Middle, and it talks about the process of getting from where you are to where you want to be, and what to do in that gap of time that we call the middle. The middle is not a passive time where you sit around and you hope and pray that something good happens, or you're waiting for somebody to come rescue you or come help you. The middle is a very active stage where there's a lot of things happening, and my book can guide you through those experiences in a much deeper way than I can in a YouTube video. And so if that sounds interesting to you, then I will leave the link for the book in the description box below. And thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.